My name is Deacon Cody Chatagnier. I am a seminarian for the Diocese of Houma-Thibodaux. Hopefully soon I will be ordained to the priesthood in May. I am a native of Houma, Louisiana. I grew up in this area, born in Chauvin, moved to Bayou Black when I was 3 years old. My family's originally from here as well. I have a mother and a father and a younger sister. My mother passed away back in 2010. And my family moved to North Louisiana, and so I'm kind of left here by myself. I went to public school here in Terrebonne Parish, first Bayou Black Elementary, Greenwood Middle School, which doesn't even exist anymore, they closed that one, Houma Junior High, and then Terrebonne High School. I graduated Terrebonne High School in 2002. After that, I went to Nicholls State University, where I studied history, and finished with a Bachelor's of History in 2007. After finishing history, or finishing a degree, I still felt the Lord calling me to seminary, and so I decided to go and live in a parish for a year. I decided to take the invitation of the Lord to come and see what seminary was all about. And so I moved down to Golden Meadow and stayed with a priest down there for a year, discerning and learning more and more about the seminary. And eventually I joined the seminary as a seminarian for the Diocese of Houma-Thibodaux in 2008. There are many things I love about the diocese. The land, the food, the people, the culture. There's a lot of things that you can say, or anyone can say, they love about Houma, Louisiana. But I think what I love about it the most is that it's home. This is my home. This is where I grew up at. I know these streets like no one else. I know this area like no one else. I know where things used to be. Old people will tell you all the time, oh, I remember where, over here they used to have this, and over here they used to have this. Oh, and then the movie theater used to be down that way, and everything used to be just on Main Street at the time. I'm starting to form that for myself. Oh, well, this used to be here, and then the barbecue joint used to be over here, but it burned down, and then they moved to the east side, and now they're back on the west side. So I have some of those memories too. I grew up here. This is the place that I love because it is home. I was a cradle Catholic all of my life, born and raised Catholic. I think my parents really tried to instill some Catholicism in us, even though, I think all parents, in some ways, they do an imperfect job, But we went to church pretty much every Sunday. We were in CCD classes. I was baptized at St. Joseph in Chauvin, but most of my formation came from St. Anthony of Padua and Bayou Black. I went through CCD classes in there. But I really didn't have a true relationship with God, I think. I think morally I was a good person. I think, I knew what was right and what was wrong. My parents made sure of that, and there were consequences if, I did bad things. But I think morally I was a good person. But I don't think I really knew God in that way. I just knew God as God. I didn't see Him as something that, that I could have a relationship with, in a sense. God was up here and I was down here, and there was a lot of in between space, a lot of green, so to speak. That all kind of changed right before my confirmation. I had a really great confirmation program at St. Anthony of Padua, and they still do. And I don't know, I felt like I was going through some struggles, just teenager, discerning life, that mentality of, oh, I know what's best, I have all the knowledge in the world, and, no one else can tell me differently. So a lot of struggles with that, and then just hearing the Lord asking me to surrender a lot of that, hearing the Lord like there with me. I thought that was something that was really beneficial to me first, but it's something that was new, that was a new experience. And just that invitation was carried over into youth ministry, and I'm really a product of the Kefa youth group, which was part of St. Anthony for a long period of time. And that became my extracurricular activity. A lot of kids today, they have like 4 or 5 extracurricular activities in high school. They play football, they on this team or that team or this club or that club, or also busy. I decided that my extracurricular activity, the main thing I was going to focus on was this youth ministry. And so we had a retreat team, where we went around and did confirmation retreats for other churches, other high schools, things like that. And in that retreat team, we had a team that acted out skits. We had a team that played music. We had a team that did talks, we had different team that led small groups and things like that. And I was on every single one of those things. So that kind of in some ways became my life, at least my passion, I guess. Through that, I started playing music with some of the young adults in the group, and we kind of formed a little Christian rock band for a little time. I'm not saying we were good, because we were pretty bad, but our hearts were in the right place. We were there to minister. We were there to bring God to people that maybe didn't know God, and extend the invitation that had been extended to me back when I confirmed. So throughout high school, I did that, and then at Nichols, I was became like a youth minister in a sense, like just a leader. So instead of just playing in a Christian rock band, I was like managing the Christian rock band. Oh, you need to do this better, or you need to do that, or and my dad's an electrician, so I kind of fit and did all the sound work and things like that, and all the setup for the band, make sure they had everything they need. So at that time, I saw like a servant role kind of emerge from that, and that's kind of what I've tried to live out. Ministry is a very servant role, in a sense. And then after college, I went to seminary. That's continued and formed, and still doing some things with the confirmation classes, but expanding that to teaching adult classes and doing RCIA and leading adult retreats and things like that. So a lot of things have branched out from that. But spirituality-wise, I've always seen it as kind of like a Benedictine model, pray and then work. And so we pray at the beginning, but also very, very much oriented towards the ministry to the world, and how are we going to present the message of God, the gospel, to the rest of the world. So I think I've always tried to keep those two as the clear basis of what am I doing here, and what is ministry all about. There's a lot of reasons why I went into seminary. I think the first kind of hook, so to speak, or first kind of line that I received was I had a good pastor growing up. I had someone that, you felt like I could do that. That's a good life right there. This guy cares about us. This guy loves us, and it wasn't hard to go from there to, well, I can love people like that. I could bring Christ to people like that. So that's the first thing, I guess, or the initial reaction there. But truthfully, I didn't start really thinking about going into seminary or it wasn't in front of my mind, really until high school. I remember being in CCD classes, maybe like 5th grade or something, and at the time, our pastor, Father Hayes, he mandated that the CCD classes would come to daily mass on Monday. So it'd spend 30 minutes in daily mass, and then they would go and do their class. And one of my friends, he's the guy that wanted to be the priest. He was the guy that, he was in the front pew, and I was sitting next to him, and he's the guy that was trying to imitate Father Hayes, the guy trying to say the Eucharistic prayer, under his breath a little bit, trying to memorize what he was saying, in a sense. I wasn't that guy. I wanted to be the football player. I wanted to be the lawyer. I wanted to be the history professor. And I wanted to be so many other things other than the priest when I was growing up. But then in seminary, in high school, it kind of clicked, and I started to hear that call, started to feel that call. It's not just I might be crazy, but I don't hear voices. You don't just hear God saying, go to seminary, you will be a priest, you will do this. That's not how it is. But there's a yearning inside your heart. There's a yearning inside your soul that it it's something that is I like to describe it as an unfulfilled desire, and it doesn't go away. It's always there, so to speak. And until it's fulfilled, then it's going to still burn. It's going to burn in your heart until it's fulfilled. And that was the main thing, I think. But what's kept me in seminary is confirmation of that. There's many levels of discernment. You discern to go to seminary. You discern you're thinking about going to seminary, and then you actually go to seminary. So you discern, and then you take a step. And you might have to change the path along the way, but you take a step, and then you discern some more, and you take a step. And all the while, the church is discerning with you. It's not something that's just, oh, I'm going to go to seminary and I'm going to be a priest, and like the church has no say in it. No, the church is the one that ordains me a priest. That's the way it is. Priesthood is an incredible gift. It's not something that I can earn. So you might hear the calling, but the church has to hear the calling too. And that's why we have such wonderful people that walk with us, that make sure that the calling is true and the calling is right. Also because I love the people. I think, you could say any ministry, whether it's ordained or not, you can ask anybody and say, why do I do this? Because I love the people. I love the area. I love what I do. I feel satisfied in it. I feel God calling me to it. And it comes out that way. And so part of the discernment is also receiving confirmation that you're doing what God has called you to do. And I've received that over the years, whether it's in this parish or that parish, or in seminary, or from a professor, or you kind of, even though you don't, in your mind, you don't just necessarily hear God saying, I want you to be a priest, I want you to be a priest. Sometimes you can hear God saying it through other people, saying, you'll be a great priest, or I thank you for so much of this. The other day, a student wrote me a letter right here in this pocket, and she thanked me for my ministry. She thanked me for for what I was able to do in her life, in a sense, which really wasn't me; it was really God. But I mean, that's part of the grace of being a priest. A lot of people nowadays will talk about the hardships of being a priest. Oh, you work 6 days a week, and you're supposed to get a 7th day off. If you do it, you only get a couple weeks of vacation time, and you're constantly on call. You're constantly doing this. You might not have any free time, and on and on and on and on. Sometimes they don't talk about the joy of the priesthood anymore. And that's what's there, and that's what really motivates us. And there are times when I am exhausted, whenever I can't physically go anymore, and I just collapse onto my bed at night. But it doesn't mean I'm not joyful or happy of what the 20 bajillion things I did that day, because it was all for God. It was all for His people, and it is that fulfillment of that desire that's in me. So that's what keeps me in the seminary, or keeps me going towards ordination. Not just the amounts of work or things, but the joy that I experience, the joy that I receive from God and receive from His people, that this is where I'm meant to be in life. Well, when I first got into seminary, I always thought seminary was like a retreat that never ended. Or 8-month retreat, so to speak, where you wake up, you pray, you learn about God, you pray some more, and then you go to sleep. And it was just this thing right when I got into seminary, but that quickly burned away because seminary is difficult. I believe it's more difficult than regular college because you're constantly surrounded by it. You don't have a job or something you can go to or something like that. You're constantly in the midst of it. It's challenging because you have all these other commitments and responsibilities, and it's not just that one thing or that one class that you have to focus on. It's all these different things that you have to work on and things. So it is difficult. It's not something that that you can just breeze through. It takes commitment. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. When I first got to St. Ben's, since I had a college degree, I only had to go to a pre-theology program, which is 2 years just learning the philosophy before I got into theology. And looking at St. Ben's, I was struggled a lot with the philosophy because I was a history major. History majors is very easy. Tell me a story that makes sense. Okay, this happened and this happened and this happened. Because these three things happened, this is the result. Or this is the mentality that was built up. Philosophy is so abstract. It's not as history is about concrete events. Okay, this happened. Philosophy is so abstract, and it took a while for my mind to really wrap around the abstractness. But the great thing about seminary is you have a bunch of guys that are taking the same classes with you. This isn't just, this person's in this class and this person's in the class, this person's class. Normally it's the same 15 to 20 guys that are in the same classes with you. And I probably wouldn't have made it through my first semester of seminary without a couple of my friends that sat there and read with me when I was reading and helped me to understand what Pope John Paul II was saying in Fides et Ratio, even though I couldn't really understand what he was saying. And explained it to me and studied with me and helped me make study guides and helped me make flashcards and things like that. Seminary can be very difficult, but it also can be conquered through hard work, through dedication. And it's also it's in some ways another test of how much do you really want to be a priest? How much are you really willing to answer God's call? How generous are you willing to be to serve God's people? Because if you're that generous, seminary is going to get that. We're going to pull that out of you in a sense. Because that's what priesthood in some ways is about. It's about sanctifying God's people through service. And it's about generosity, giving yourself like Christ gave himself for the church. And so that's what seminary kind of does. It forms you into a good man at first. Because whether you're a husband or a priest, you have to be a servant. You can't be about yourself. You can't be selfish. You have to sacrifice for your family or sacrifice for the people of God, one way or the other. So St. Ben's formed me into a good man. Notre Dame has formed me into a good priest. What I mean by that is St. Ben's taught me how to live life and how to be a good person, just overall, and how to accept responsibility for my actions and how to sacrifice. Notre Dame has formed me into a good priest because it's given me all the tools, all the knowledge that I would need for priesthood. How to say this, or should I do this on this day, or how can, all the intricacies that the church has, all the different laws of the church, and all those things that, you come to the priest and you say, Father, tell me about this and that and this, and then all of a sudden he has this answer in the back of his head. That stuff doesn't come just from listening to an audiobook at night. It comes through hard work and dedication and study and learning. And that's what Notre Dame has done for me. It's made me into a good priest, into a priest that knows, okay, I can do this right now, I can't do this. And it's made me into a good priest that can say, this is what I can offer to you. And that's what seminary has been for me. Being 2 months out from ordination, I am still checking boxes, so to speak. I have 4 assignments left right now. I have a paper, 2 comprehensive finals, and a final for a class. So I'm still in the midst of the studying, so to speak. That hasn't ended for me. There's no break yet. So I have to wait until I graduate from seminary until the break comes, and then I can really focus on it. So I'm in the midst of the task right now. But underneath all that task, all that busyness that's going on right now is joy and excitement and happiness, but also a little bit of nervousness as well. I've been in school for so long, grade school, high school, college, seminary. It's been a long time. I'm 32 years old, and a part of me, the desire in me is, and I tell people this all the time, I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to be in ministry. In the fall, I was privileged to be at St. Thomas Aquinas for my internship, diaconate internship, and I got a taste of that ministry. I got a taste of how it is to walk with a parish, to walk with people and to minister to them more explicitly or full time, not just something that we do part time, but full time with tangible things of being a deacon, being able to do deacony things, and that was a great thing, and I long for that more. I long to do that a lot more, and so that's one of the things that's in my heart right now. I'm incredibly excited about coming back to Houma-Thibodaux. I've been in Covington for 2 years. I've been in New Orleans for a long period of time. I'm ready to come back to the diocese. I'm ready to smell the extremely humid air. I'm ready to just to see Houma again, just to see Thibodaux again. Morgan City, Grand Isle, down to Bayou Lafourche, just to be able to see those people again that I haven't seen, my people, in a sense. I've been around other people. I want to see my people. A couple months ago, I went and participated in an awakening retreat, and at Nichols at St. Thomas Aquinas. And after the awakening retreat was over, I had to go back to seminary. I had seminary commitments for the next day, and I had to leave. And I got in my car, and I was about to leave, and just in my heart, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay. I wanted to stick around, but I still had commitments left at seminary. There's something still unfinished at seminary that I have to finish. So part of me, I think the excitement is I'm about to finish one chapter and start another one. And hopefully the chapter that I'm about to start will be a very long chapter. I'll be a priest in this diocese for 50 plus years, hopefully, And that's what I long for. I always tell some of the formators, I said, just put me in a parish and let me die. And I mean that because that's what I want. I want to serve in a parish. I want to be a priest in a parish. I don't want to be a priest somewhere else. I want to serve in your parish.